Only one dog in the entire history of the United States Army has ever held a military rank. This is the story of how he earned it. Below deck, a young private named Robert Conroy sat hunched between rows of bunks, arms wrapped tight around his middle like he was just fighting off the cold. Pressed under his coat, something was shaking. Footsteps echoed closer down the hall. The commanding officer was doing his daily rounds, checking every bunk for anything that wasn't supposed to be there. The footsteps stopped right in front of Conroy. If the officer had looked a little closer, whatever was hiding under that coat was going straight into the ocean. This time, he didn't. A few months earlier, a stray dog with a stubby, half-missing tail had wandered into an army training camp at Yale. The soldiers started calling him Stubby. Dogs weren't allowed in camp, but Conroy didn't have the heart to kick him out, and the other officers let it slide since Stubby was good for morale. When the unit got orders to ship out for France, Conroy wrapped Stubby in his coat and carried him onto the boat. Now, weeks later, that decision was about to get tested. The officer stopped. He was looking straight at the shape moving under Conroy's coat. Conroy had spent weeks training Stubby to do one trick. He gave the signal, and Stubby lifted his paw right up to his eyebrow and held it there. A salute. The officer stared for a second. Then he laughed, and suddenly, Stubby was allowed to stay. That decision ended up saving his life. It also meant he'd stay with the unit all the way to the front lines of the war. By February, Stubby was in the trenches at a place in France called Chemin, getting hit with explosions day and night. He wasn't just sitting in the back either. When the unit got hit with poison gas, Stubby got hit too. He survived it, but after that, his sense of smell changed drastically. He could smell gas in the air before any of the soldiers could, and he'd start barking and running through the trench to warn them that they were about to get hit. They gave him his own gas mask, built just for his face. He'd always had sharp hearing, too. He could hear incoming bombs whistling in seconds before the men could, giving them just enough time to duck for cover. In April, his unit came under a brutal attack at a village called Seicheprey. Grenades tore through the trench, and Stubby took shrapnel to his chest and leg. He was carried to a Red Cross hospital behind the lines. Even wounded, he spent his recovery walking between the beds, checking on every injured soldier in the room. After some time, he healed, and he went straight back to the front. Later that year, deep in the trenches, Stubby noticed something. A man in the camp who didn't belong. A German soldier mapping out exactly where the Allied trenches were. Stubby didn't wait for orders. He ran at the man, grabbed a hold of him, and refused to let go until soldiers reached them and took the spy into custody. For that, Stubby became the first dog in American military history to be given an Army rank. Sergeant Stubby. He came home to crowds waiting at the docks. He marched in parades. He shook hands with 3 different presidents. And through it all, Conroy never left his side, right up until the end, when Stubby passed away in his arms. He'd started out as a dog that wasn't even supposed to be on that ship. By the time the war was over, the United States Army had given him something no dog before him or since has ever received: an actual military rank. Because in the worst trenches of the worst war anyone had seen, he never once let his soldiers down. If you want to go down another rabbit hole, there's more waiting right here.